Hello, I'm Eveldee, and today I will show you the game Little Witch Nobeta. So we're going to do the any percent NMG run, which means that we're going to avoid doing most game-breaking glitches. So as the category name says, which is no major glitches. Little Witch Nobeta, for those that do not know, is a roguelike game. So it's a Dark Souls-like game, so it kinda looks like Dark Souls, but instead of using weapons like sword and bows to kill the enemies, we're going to use 4 different types of magic. And that's a twist of the game. So we are all going to do we're going to do all the levels using those, so it's quite different since it's mostly range-based Souls-like game and not melee at all. So I'm ready whenever you are. So the timer will start when I will press advanced mode. So in 3, 2, 1. So to explain more about the run, in Little Witch Nobeta we're going to have 2 different type of phases. So we're going to have the platforming phases, which are really impressive. We're going to see in this category because we can use the terrain to our advantage to do a lot of skips. And there are going to be the combat phases, so against different enemies and the different bosses. So what's interesting to know at first is the stamina bar. It's really important, and you can see it at the top of the screen, the yellow bar. And if we don't have any stamina, we cannot run, and Nobeta will trip to the ground. So it's really important to manage stamina correctly. So I'm always going to use some indicators to know when to run and when to recover stamina. It's really precise. One other resource that is really important is the mana bar, the blue one. It's even more important than the HP bar, because this is what will allow us to use our different types of magic. And it's going to be really important against bosses, because in this game, especially in the advanced difficulty, you don't have a lot of mana. So we're going to have to use different techniques to regenerate some mana. In this game, you can regenerate some mana by either dodging enemy attacks, doing parries, which have a really precise timing, or just waiting for mana to recover naturally. But in advanced difficulty, the natural regeneration is really slow, so we are particularly not going to use it at all. We're only going to use some parries and evades. So in this first phase, the game basically teaches us how to use arcane magic. So one specificity of all the different types of magic is that we can do charge attacks like this. So each magic has a different charge attack, and for now we only have arcane magic, which shoots normal projectiles, and the charged one can go through enemies and are way more powerful. So here we're going to save our little cat friend, which is a second character in the game, which will be really important during the different cutscenes that we will skip, unfortunately. And this little cat that you can see here, basically is a guide to Nobeta for her to read the throne. So the simple law of the game is that Nobeta arrives in this castle because she's trying to find the throne, which is supposed to give the one that sits on it a lot of power. And she lost her memory, so she does not even know why she's looking for the throne, but she's looking for it. So we're going to go through the castle and try to find it. And the cat knows where it is, and it's basically our guide, just telling us to go on and go on. So here I'm going to go to the first boss, which is Armor. It's a really simple boss, and we're going to abuse the arcane charge attack to stagger him continuously and do attacks. So here I'm using the mana orbs that spawn when you break the pots to charge Arcane, and I'm going to use it against Armor. So the timing is pretty simple. You just need to count how many attacks you do, and basically just one attack to stagger him continuously. So sometimes you can do the defense when going phase 2, so I'm just going to use another charge ones, because it's really difficult to hit. And just doing that. But as you can see, in the fight was basically 0 mana, so this is like the most important resource when you want to go fast. Like if you have no mana, you cannot do damage, and if you cannot do damage, you cannot kill the boss here. So it's going to be a game between dealing damage and regenerating mana. It's basically going to be that for all the bosses. So the first level was really fast. It's quite short, and now we're going to underground, which is quite different. And we're going to unlock 2 new magics. The first one is a wind magic, which will allow us to double jump. The second one is ice magic, which is another offensive attack. So now we can double jump, which allows us to do a lot more movements. And we're going to see that through Underground, that we're going to use it to our advantage to climb on some platforms and skip a lot of different phases. And we're going to start by doing a really simple skip. By going on the right instead of climbing up the stairs. It does need a bit of platforming management, but alright, that went perfectly. So as you can see in this game, most of the environment objects have boxes, so that means you can climb on them, which is kinda crazy, as we're going to see through Spirit Realm, because there are a ton of those, and you can basically climb on anything. At first you may think that the game design is pretty simple, but once you consider the fact that everything has a collider, you can basically do anything in this game. It's really, really nice for the platforming sections. So here we're going to use ice magic. So the particularities of the ice magic is that it can shoot continuously. It has a really low cooldown, and the charge attack that I'm going to use allows you to lock on multiple targets. So here is a simple puzzle that you need to use this lock-on attack by destroying all the targets at the same time. And we just unlock the absorption magic. So what the absorption magic does is that it allows you to counter attacks. And before getting the absorption, you cannot counter attacks, so that's why I did not use it yet. And it's going to be really, really useful against the next boss, which is Tanya. So the absorption magic is really powerful because this is going to be our main way to regenerate some mana against bosses, so we're going to use that a lot through the run. And here's another particularity of the ice magic, is that it allows you to protect from fire. So here is another puzzle. Like, the game likes to put a lot of different puzzles when you unlock a new magic to teach you how to use the magic. So there are going to be some for all of the different types. So here I'm going to do the barrier skip, which is the first quite major platforming skip I'm going to do in the run, which will allow us to jump over a barrier by doing a side jump. Alright, perfect. So here we're supposed to fight 2 enemies, with the second one spawning after defeating the first one, so it can take more than 20 seconds to do, but if you're precise and use the ledges, you can just jump over the barrier, which is really, really nice. And by the way, I'm killing as most enemies as I can on the way because I want to get those tools to improve my stats. It's really important. So Tanya, second boss. This one I'm going to have to use a lot of counters, because as you can see, I clearly do not have enough mana to kill her. So I need to generate as much mana as I can. It's a really nice pattern. So in this game there's a bit of RNG at the bosses because all the patterns are completely random. So sometimes she can even decide to not attack and you really want her to be really aggressive because you need this mana. So sometimes she can be really annoying. But for now she's alright, I'd say. She's being quite nice to me. And this should be the last charge rotation. Okay, she can do this. She's going to die. So, one fun trivia in this game is that all the bosses, we're not gonna be able to hear it because I'm skipping the cutscenes, but all the bosses are voice acted by all live VTubers. So, Tanya is Polka, Monica, which is coming next level, is Fuki, and Vanessa, the last one, is Noel. Like, that's the thing where people are like, wait, what? They took streamers to do the voice acting in the game, which is really nice in my opinion. It's like just a bit of share of the game. I'm not even sure why they did that, but I find that cool. Like, the characters do not have that many lines in the game anyway, so that's nice to see that. So Fire, which is the third level, I'm going to increase a lot of different stats. So just taking a bit of mana. Stamina is going to be really useful for the platforming section. I'm going to put it in level 7. Strength to destroy the stone pillars, and intelligence is the main stat I'm going to increase. So this is basically our damage output. So we want intelligence as high as possible. And of course we're going glass cannon build because we are not going to improve HP. We just keep the default HP. Okay, so here another platforming skip, which usually we need to activate stairs and everything, but we're just climbing on the ledge. Okay, got the two, nice. So here I broke the 2 barrels to get some mana for the next part. it's really precise 180 that you need to do here, but works nicely. Oh, alright, nice. So here I'm going to use a cheese to avoid the doll that spawned to attack me, so I can just shoot charge ice at her. It was discovered pretty recently, and before that we had to take Arcane level 2 to kill this enemy, but now we can just use ice like that. We've been searching for a way to skip Arcane 2 to do this fight for years, and it just happened that when I was trying to do the fight using ice, I found out that if you land on a small ledge, she just does not take aggro, so that makes the fight so easy. Just basically random. I don't even know why you can do that. Makes no sense. That's well. I'm going to kill this enemy to get the mana and avoid him stagger. So one thing that can happen in this game when you do platforming section is that all the enemies can stagger you, which is a pain honestly. And that's why I'm going to try to kill as many enemies as possible along the way. Because if I get staggered, that can end really badly. Especially in lava ruins, because we are not taking any checkpoints until the end. So if I die here, I basically lose 3 minutes, something like that. So I really don't want to restart from the beginning lava ruins. So here we just did the fire trial. So particularity of the fire magic is that it does high damage, close range, and the melee attacks when charged are empowered. So that's what allowed us to break the crystal. So you can see I can basically one-shot enemies close range with the fire magic. It's just like a shotgun, something like that. We're not going to use it a lot compared to ice because it does use a lot of mana, and ice is more mana efficient. Like you do more damage with the same amount of mana, so most of the time we'll be using ice until we unlock thunder. So here is basically what I call the crystal ride section, which is you have a blue crystal, the platform is moving. So usually you should be waiting, but here we're going to use that to our advantage to just go on the side and try to do some precise jumps to avoid waiting for the platform to go all the way. Nice. So otherwise I'm still trying to kill as many enemies as possible, that's why I try to lock on enemies using ice and everything. It's like quite precise because you need to do a lot of mouse movements. It's going well so far. So fortunately we're going to use this statue to get a checkpoint before the next boss and increase intelligence a bit. We needed to get to level 16 and take purple crystals. So purple crystals are what makes this run insanely impressive when you get to the bosses at the end. Because those crystals will allow us to charge spells way faster. Because they have the particularity of spawning with the blue mana orbs, and it's way more powerful than just taking blue crystals that regenerates mana. Because the blue orbs can allow you to charge a spell instantly. Oh, I really don't like this pattern, that's okay. I got lucky. So Bear is basically like Tanya. I'm going to abuse ice. Charge ice attack by doing some counters and just do the tip loop to get him to 0 HP. So this attack is basically the hardest to counter because the timing is really strange. That's why usually you don't want him to do the Smackdown attack like he did. It's not going to do it third time. Okay, nice. And again. So the bear has a tendency to just spam this attack for some reason. Like it's either he does not use it at all during the fight or he uses it every time. Like, yesterday when I was training, he used it 4 times in a row. Okay. So I'm going to break some but here because this boss is in fact 2 bosses. So I'm just putting in advance some mana, which will allow me to cast some spells. And you can already hit the boss from here, so that's why I just shot some charge fire attack. And this is Monica. So the good thing about Monica is that she might be really big and scary, but she always does the same attacks. So there is no RNG involved in this fight. She basically always does the same thing, which is really something you want as a speedrunner. You don't want unpredictable patterns, makes the boss really hard. So here I counted how many ice attacks I did because I want to break the orb at the last moment. Because the orb deals more damage if you wait. So I want to break it using 10 normal ice attacks exactly at the end to have the 3600 damage. Okay. And she's going to do orb again, fire, ice, fire, ice. So here I use something that's called the quick swap tech. So in this game, all the different magics have a separate cooldown. So that means I can shoot ice, shoot fires, and switch to ice and fire again. So that's really, really nice because it will allow us to have really, really high damage route when we have a lot of mana. And I'm going to use that a lot with Thunder Magic too, to swap between Thunder and Fire against some bosses. That's a really advanced technique because you need to be able to swap magic in between each cooldown, but it's really powerful. And here we're going to have a small TP, and we're going to go to the 4th level, which is Dark Tunnel. So as the name implies, it's going to be a really, really dark place, and when you play this game casually, Dark Tunnel is basically the place where you always get lost. Especially when you do not know the thing about the lights, because you can light up some orbs that will make the place a bit brighter, but when you do not know that, you just get lost every time. I remember the first time in the game I took like 2 hours stuck in the Dark Tunnel. It's really, really, really specific place. And we're going to start that tunnel by doing another major platforming skip. So usually we should be climbing up to get at the back, but I'm not going to do that. And instead use some improbable platforming section to reach the hat way faster. So I'm going to try to do it. Hard. Alright. If I don't mess up the last jump, I should have it. Okay, nice. So here I trigger the cutscene and I die. Why do I do that? It's because it's faster to die and spawn the statue than just going down back after the cutscene. So we do that because on the leaderboard we use the load remover time to make it fair for every players, because the loading times are really random in this game. So we don't count the loading times. So it's just faster to die, go to the loading screen where the timer does not pass, and just respawn. So that was really, really nice at skip. So this is the latest version of the at skip. The at skip evolved a lot through the history of this game speedrunning. It started it was a really clunky skip at first. Like, we were taking our time, not sprinting, generating some stamina. But as you can see now, we just basically do the full at skip while running. It's really impressive. But not a lot of runners can do that. I think like me and Mookie usually do this, but most runners just take some time to slow down and regenerate some stamina. And that's also why I upgraded stamina level 7. For sections like this, you really need this stamina level 7 because you end up with 0 stamina. Like, if you have less than stamina level 7, you cannot really do that. Okay, so here we unlock the Thunder Magic, which is the most OP magic in the game. It's basically a sniper, meaning that it shoots single projectiles that travel really, really fast and does insane amount of damage. Especially when you consider the fact that in Little Witch Nobeta you have headshot damage modifier. So if you shoot enemies in the head, you do a ton of damage using Thunder Magic, and that's basically what I'm going to do from now on. I'm just going to spam Thunder, especially the charge attacks, which is the attack that deals the most damage in the game. So as you can see, I can snipe and shot enemies like instantly. It's really, really powerful. And that will allow us to get a lot of souls from now on, because we can kill most enemies. Going back up. So now we're just going to go through the end of Dark Tunnel and then Dowrin Castle, where we're going to fight Vanessa. There's no specific platforming skip now, and the next one will be in the Spirit Realm, so it's quite a chill section. We're going to see the cat again. So the fun thing in this game is that the cat is always ahead of us. You don't really know how or why, but he's always ahead of us. So somehow taunting us, saying, "Hey, you're so slow, Nobeta. You could go faster than that." But honestly, I'm not sure I can go faster than that. Alright, so entrance of the Dowrin Castle. We're just going to skip all the enemies here. So as I said, you want to get as many souls as possible, but taking souls obviously slows you down because you need to take your time to kill the enemies. So in some sections, I intentionally do not kill any enemies just to be faster, since I know how much souls I have and how many I need. So, for example, here I know that I already have enough for Spirit Realm, so I'm not going to try to get more. Vanessa will give me way enough to increase intelligence level 19 and get the 5 purples I will need for the next section. Spirit Realm. That's alright. So, the Vanessa fight, I don't know how to explain it, but like we're going to abuse Charge Thunder attacks, and it's quite RNG based because she's always doing different movements and different attacks, and depending on the attacks you get, it can get really messy. So here, for example, I got really unlucky. It's an instant attack. I can back up this, but I need to wait for it to attack. So I'm going to have to counter one attack since I missed one Charge Thunder and I need this damage. Okay. So this one I cannot counter it, unfortunately. Vanessa, come again? Oh. Alright. So this is what happens with Vanessa when she's not kind with you. Like, she can do range attacks or melee attacks, and obviously the range attacks are basically impossible to counter. But fortunately for me, I'm not that far away from the fight. So we're just going to roll back to Vanessa. So usually what she does is she starts with a range attack, so you can stagger using the first thunder from the barrels. And then she's going to do another one. And once you do the first two, you're just going to spam the purple crystals. So that makes the fight quite predictable because you can cancel most of her attacks. But sometimes at the start she will attack directly and you cannot stagger her, fortunately. It just depends. And there's going to be another fight against Vanessa, and Vanessa too is basically the same. So like most of the bosses, now we're going to use Charge Thunder attacks, and it really depends on which pattern they do. And the worst is by far Seal, which is like the most annoying boss and that kills a lot of runs in this category. Because Seal can just fly away from your attacks. So, alright, let's try again. Okay, that's way better. Here I can just shoot Thunder. Do the same second time. So we can cancel her. Now I'm just going to charge attacks using purple crystals. So the thing in this fight is that, as you can see, Vanessa tends to jump towards you, so she's trying to get melee range. And the number of jumps she does is not really random because she always stops when she's close to you, but sometimes she can decide to jump away even when she's close to you. So you need to be able to notice when she's going to stop. But it's not necessarily easy, and sometimes it makes this fight really hard because we don't want her to reach phase 2. Because during the phase 2 transition, she's basically invincible, she doesn't take damage. So you really need to do the thunder attacks in a specific order to skip the phase 2. But here I got it the second time, so that's alright. Okay, so now Spirit Realm, quite a long level. I think it's the longest one actually in the game. And it is going to have 2 different bosses, with one that has 2 phases and a lot of platforming tricks. This is the level with the most platforming tricks in the game. And it changed a lot through the history of Nobeta Speedrun. And I think that makes it the hardest level, with maybe Lava Winds just behind. But yeah, Spirit Realm demands a lot of precision for the boss fights and for the platforming sections too. Especially since we're using the specificity of Charge Thunder, which allows us to speed time for Nobeta and slows down time for enemies. So that means I'm doing really precise platforming sections with increased speed. So that makes it even harder. Like if you do not use Charge Thunder attacks, it's a bit easier. But yeah, with the time speed, it makes it really precise to do all those tricks. So here I'm going to charge Arcane. You might be wondering why, like why I would be using Arcane so late in the game, and that's because it will allow me to do a really specific jump section. Please no cancel. Okay, I can just charge Arcane again. So many of them here. So here we want to use a statue, but the name is just Armor Cancellers. And so we're going to increase intelligence level 19 and get 5 purples for the next fight. So here I'm going to try to show you why we're using that Arcane. So basically what I did here is shoot Arcane behind me while in the air, so it pushes back a bit, and it also allows me to stay longer in the air. Why I did that? It's because the double jump in this game is not reset when you land, but after a cooldown. So that means if you double jump and then wait enough time in the air, you can triple jump, basically. So that's exactly what I'm doing here with the jump extensions too. So shooting Arcane allowed me to get this triple jump. It's a really specific jump, but works pretty well. She stopped, nice. So what Seal does is she always try to fly somewhere, and you can basically see where she's going to land, because the positions she's landing on are not random. Like she can only land on some specific parts of the arena. So here, for example, she's always near this pillar. You cannot land elsewhere nearby. So you can basically know where she's going to land by just looking at where she's going to. Please do not die during the cutscene, thanks. So in this game it's possible to take damage during this time slow, so you need to be really careful. So this is first phase of Seal, and now I'm going to the second phase of Seal, where I'm going to do another barrier skip, like in the second level in the game. So I'm going to jump over a barrier. This one is, I'd say, even harder than the first one, because we're going to use some terrain to jump around the pillar. It's going to be really strange. And we're also going to kill the boss at the same time. So here what we do is, when we kill this boss, the terrain we need to do the barrier skip disappears. So we basically need to be killing the boss at the same time we're doing the barrier skip. So what I'm going to do is place some thunder on the ground, do the barrier skip, and cast thunder the moment I go over the barrier. Like this. So I jumped over the barrier, cast thunder, kill Seal, then I get some mana for the next section. So it's a really nice skip, and if you mess up anything, like if you do not kill the boss, for example, you need to kill it through the barrier, which is really hard. Okay, nice. So here I basically use the same trick I use with Arcane, where I cast a magic in the air to stall time and get my double jump CD back. And I charge fire here for the next section. We're going to need to break a crystal, so we're going to use fire melee attacks. Right, 1, 2, and we blow up ourselves during the cutscene to kill the enemy next to us and save a bit of time. Another TP, and we're going to go to Vanessa now. Vanessa again, so Vanessa Tube, so to call her. The fight is quite similar to Vanessa Window and Castle, with the exception that here you can use 5 purples and it's enough damage to kill her, so we are not going to need to get some mana at the start to charge thunder attacks, which makes the fight a bit less random, but the first part is the hardest one. So we're just going to walk to the statue and then start the boss fight. So all of those platforming sections in Spirit Realm were found by a lot of different players, and that's really nice seeing the accumulation of all the knowledge in the game, where every runner found different tricks. That makes this run really cool in my opinion, especially with the platforming sections that are just like not a Souls-like game where you just beat bosses, but it's also a platforming game at the same time. Makes it really interesting. Okay, so Vanessa, I'm going to be popping a purple crystal, going backwards. I'm not going to get it. Hopefully I can get the second one. I think I'm going to be a bit short of damage, clearly. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, because I'm a bit short of damage, is I'm going to wait for her to do an attack, then counter it to cast thunder. Nice. The melee attack. For one, the boss is kinda nice to me. Does not happen a lot. this game. Okay, another Thunder, going to counter this one. And we have enough damage to kill her. Perfect. So that's exactly an example of small RNG that there is in this fight. Like the first attack she decided to do the dash attack. You need to react really fast to cancel her when she's doing that, but unfortunately I got hit by the magic projectiles as being, so I could not cast Thunder in time. But fortunately for us, there is no random fight anymore. I mean, the last boss has a bit of RNG, but not that much. So here we're going to use the same thing as I did during the run. So we're just returning to statue, because as I said, it's faster to enter the statue, because we do not count landing times of shelter board. So it just teleports us down. We don't need to go down at all. It saves like 2 seconds, I think. Something like that. That's not huge time save, but it's 3 time save, so we always take it. So now we're in Abyss. This level is not really long, but we have to do 3 different trials. So the trials are basically revisiting past levels with the mechanics. So we're going to use ice, fire, and thunder. And here we're basically escaping prison. That's like that's how I call this level, is prison escape. There are nothing. So here we're going to do another barrier skip. So I'm going to use those wall pillars to just jump over an invisible wall here. So usually when you get to this entrance, there's a barrier that spawns, and you need to kill enemies as always. But you can just jump over it before it even spawns. It's really nice. So I'm going to use statue to get some purple crystals because I'm really OP, and I'm going to do the 3 trials from left to right. The order was not important like a few months ago, but we found a new tech. So Mookie found a tech that requires Thunder 5 for the trial on the right. So, and Thunder 4 is in the trial in the middle, so we need to go left to right. But before that, I would always go right to left. There was no specific reason. But now there is. So, always do left or right. First trial, we're supposed to use charge fire attack to kill really annoying enemies, which are stone dolls that are immune to range attacks and can only take damage from melee attacks. But thanks to Mian, we have a way to skip this barrier. So we do not need to kill the stone dolls at all. And you're going to see that the skip is pretty simple. We just go through the wall, like we go against the barrier, and we just trip, and the trip animation makes Nobeta go through the barrier for some reason. Just makes no sense, but it's really nice being able to go through this one, because the fight against the stone doll is really long and tedious, because we do not increase strength, which is our melee damage. So with a strength level 3 as well, it would be really annoying to this fight. So now we're going to do to the second trial. This one we're going to skip the first part by using the Thunder Slow effect. So there is a big boulder that's going downstairs, but thanks to the Thunder Slow effect we can just go to the top and basically skip this section. So here you should be waiting for it to go down. You can see it at the top, but thanks to Thunder it's just really slow, and we can reach the top and it will just despawn, reach the top of the stairs. And we just got Thunder level 4. So why do we need Thunder level 4? It's really important because you can kill yourself with your magic damage. So you can inflict self-damage in this game using your charge attacks, so with Thunder and Fire. And I need this to do the next trial because I'm going to cast Thunder on me. So it's really important to do the trials in this order. Okay, kill the doll. So this is a ninja doll. We called her the ninja doll because she evades all your attacks. So basically what you do is, because whenever you attack her, she will teleport to you in melee range. You just cast Thunder at your foot, so she teleports to you, but since you cast the Thunder, she will just take the damage. It's a nice way to do this fight. Usually you would be needing to like bait her by doing attacks or using items and then dodging. This way it's easier. So here I'm going to do a skip that was found 2 months ago, even. It's a really recent skip that allowed me to get a new world record to 32 minutes. So I'm just going to use a purple crystal and I'm going to go through the lava. So that's a really strange skip because here you're supposed to activate the lever to lower the lava down, but you can just, if you jump in a precise spot, you can just go through it because the collider for the lava damage is not the same as the visual lava effect. That's really strange. Like you can just go through it because the devs forgot to extend the collider to the wall. So if you get close to the wall, you can just go. And that basically saves 20 seconds. It's a really free time save. And a 20-second time save in a 30 minutes run approximately, it changed everything. So that's why when I found this one, I had to just redo the world record. It was basically obsolete in like just a day. Found that completely randomly. So here I use the Thunder Slow to avoid the cutscene triggering too early. So I can just go down to the statue, buy the crystals I need, and then return to the statue. So it saves around 3 seconds. It's a really funny skip because you're just delaying the cutscene trigger. Because usually the cutscene triggers the moment you end the teleportation animation. But here you can move a bit after the teleportation, so just go to the statue and buy your crystals during the cutscene. Very nice skip. And we're going to reach Nobeta, which is the last boss in the game. It's supposed to be a 2-phase boss, but I'm going to try to skip the second phase. So how to do that is usually she goes phase 2 when she's 50% HP, then you have a cutscene and she recovers the HP. But if you stagger her continuously, she will never go in phase 2. So that's what I'm trying to do. She should be dashing, yeah. And I'm going to just spam purple attacks now, thunder attacks using purple crystals, to just stagger her continuously. Ah, I forgot to charge. So I'm going to have to do phase 2, I think. Or maybe not. That really depends if I'm lucky or not. If she goes phase 2 after this attack, I can stagger her at the end of this attack. It just depends if she goes phase 2 or not. Oh, that was really close. She was really low HP. That's all I'm going to do phase 2. I missed the last fire attack after the quick swap. At least you can see what the phase 2 is. So basically phase 2 of... So phase 1 of Nobeta is using all the different types of magics that Nobeta can use. So she can use Arcane, Fire, Thunder, etc. And phase 2, she's using the boss attacks. So here it was Armor again. And she can use the attacks from Bear and Tanya too. And here, for some reason, she really wants to use Armor attacks. And she's going to go down, and it's not time. It's time when it dies. Jeez. That was a really nice run, honestly. I just died at Vanessa too, but overall it's a really nice one. So this was the last boss of the game, and that's basically the Nobeta. Really nice Souls-like game. With it's not really long, it's quite short even when you do it casually. I think it's 4 to 6 hours depending on how you play. But it's a really nice one. And I hope you enjoy the run. Maybe I will go to the thanks now before the run is over. So firstly, I really want to thank the Little Rich Nobeta speedrunning community. Like, everyone is so nice in this community. It's not a really played game because I think we're basically 10 runners in the whole Little Rich Nobeta history. Like, if you look at the leaderboard speedrun.com, but everyone there is really nice, and those are the people that got me into speedrunning because Little Rich Nobeta is the first game I got to speedrun. And I really got into it, and that's why I went for the world record and everything. And yeah, people are really kind. I can cite a few, for example, Shengon, Mookie, Mian, Melon, really nice people. And I'm really glad being a part of this community. I know a lot of them who will not be able to watch this run, but for those that did, thank you very much. It was really nice. And I want to thank some of friends. So of course, everyone in the Energetics with Milix. And Sidonia and Nakano too, really nice people that are always there when I speedrun and always encourage me to, whenever I load the world record, like Sindra was like, you can get it, you're going to get good RNG, don't worry, it's going to be easy. Really nice people. And maybe UV that is watching the stream too, thank you very much, really nice dude. And I want to thank Vane too, which is the same, like she's really nice and always encourage me, and that's really what push you to get new times and just beat your own time. Like when you're trying to find motivation, you're like, yeah, that's really, really hard. I don't think I can do it. And there's people behind you, and they're always like, yeah, you can do it. Like it's easy. You just have to get better, and you're going to get it. Like take your time, and it's going to work. So yeah, it's really nice. All nice people, and really thank them for being there. And of course, I want to thank all the BSG organizers and volunteers too, and everyone that is watching the stream. This event would not be possible without you, and I'm really glad I got to showcase Nobeta for this event. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Fantastic run. Coming up, we have an interview with Blaster Mac, who's going to do the Horizon Forbidden West run coming up a bit later. And then after that, we're going straight into Superliminal, a glitchless race between Sirex and Dunkdev. So stick around for that.